The radar station lost power. Minutes later, the objects appeared during a missile test at PT Mugu and were filmed. Unfortunately, the film was classified and has never been released. The next day, the objects returned and were seen by hundreds of people. Those Amazing USOs by Preston Dennett. USOs, unidentified submersible objects. For many years, there wasn't much research into the subject of USOs. UFO research focused mostly on flying objects. But today UFO investigators have come to realize that our oceans are swarming with extraterrestrial craft. Mile for mile, one of the top producers of USO reports is the stretch of water off the Southern California coast, known as the Santa Catalina/San Pedro Channel. There are now more than 150 documented cases on record. This video presents more than a dozen dramatic cases of UFO/USO activity in the Santa Catalina Channel. These are cases involving multiple witnesses, radar confirmation, photographs, films, physiological effects, and more. Jan 28, 1953, Rex Hardy Jr., a former LT commander in the U.S. Navy, and others observed 4 silver discs over Malibu. They estimated that the objects were each the size of a B-36 aircraft and moved at about 1,200 mph. This was the first of several sightings in that area that would cause great concern for Air Force officers. Deck 16, 1953. Clarence Kelly Johnson, designer of the U-2 aircraft, was with his wife near PT Mugu when saw a strange object moving against the prevailing winds. At the same time, the crew of a Lockheed WV-2 aircraft sighted the same object from Long Beach. Project Blue Book officers investigated the case and told the witnesses they had seen nothing but a lenticular cloud. March 22, 1957, 2 UFOs were detected on radar at LAX airport. When the objects approached to within 10 miles, the Air Force scrambled S-89 jets, at which point the radar station lost power. Minutes later, the objects appeared during a missile test at PT Mugu and were filmed. Unfortunately, the film was classified and has never been released. The next day, the objects returned and were seen by hundreds of people and again caught on radar. In 2004, an anonymous civilian witness driving along the Pacific Coast Highway near Torrance saw 3 glowing objects only 400 feet over his car. A few months later, he and his entire family saw a disc-shaped craft while boating near Catalina Island. August 8, 2005, a group of 8 shark fishermen were off the coast of Newport Beach when they saw a bright object approaching. It hovered a few miles away, only 100 feet above the water. Then it started to come closer, causing some of the fishermen to become concerned. One of the men, however, received a strong impression of positivity from the object. Deck 2, 2006, a wedding party at Newport Beach were along the beach when an eerie silence descended over them. Looking up, they saw the shadow of an object they estimated to be about 500 feet in diameter. June 1963. The best man at a wedding in Laguna Beach was taking a nighttime walk along the beach when he saw a glowing object with portholes just beneath the waves. He first thought it might be a submarine, but realized that it was far too close to the shore. 1972. Robert Snyder was visiting his friends in Pacific Palisades when they all saw a disc-shaped object covered with colored lights approach from the north. As they watched, the object descended into the water and then began to move underwater faster at extremely high speeds. June 1980. 2 people were camping at Point Mugu when they saw what they first thought were buoys with lights on them floating just offshore. Then, suddenly, the objects rose into air, hovered for a half-minute, and darted away in the blink of an eye. Mid-1980s, art director Xander Smith revealed his sighting of brilliant lights offshore of Malibu. He first thought it might be a big-money production of a movie until the next day when he learned that more than 100 people in the area had seen the mysterious lights and nobody could explain. The 1989-1994, as investigated by researcher Bill Hamilton, many witnesses along the coasts from Marina del Rey to Rancho Palos Verdes observed many objects floating under the water. In one instance, a very large USO was seen releasing smaller ones. In another incident, witnesses were warned off by mysterious government agents. In 1996, Jason Brooks was with his girlfriend at Salt Beach in Dana Point when they observed what they thought was a boat. Then, suddenly the boat took off straight up and began performing incredible darting maneuvers for 30 minutes. The next day, the USOs were back. Throughout the 1960s, an anonymous witness from Rolling Hills observed numerous UFOs/USOs. Then one evening, an object hovered over her car, causing EM effects, then moved directly over her house. That evening, her father, who worked for the Navy designing ULF antennae, experienced what she believes was direct contact. Those amazing USOs.